Hi everybody, welcome to the syllabus video. So in this video, I'm going to give you guys the nuts and bolts in class and explain what you guys need to do for class. So buckle up. Actually, I think the class is fairly straightforward. It's not going to be too complicated. You will need to work hard, but I'll be here the whole way to help you, and it's going to be a really good semester. So let's jump right in. Let me first of all, again, welcome to class. I'm glad you're with us together. It'd be nice if we were in person, but obviously in this era, it's very handy to be able to do this online, so that's what we're doing together. So it's going to work well. So the first way to access the syllabus, which that is this video is all about, is the syllabus, what you can do for class. Just go to the Canvas webpage for the class, which you see in front of you, and just scroll down below the welcome to class and a few of the details, our section number, and those kind of things. By the way, that section number may or may not apply to you. This works for both classes, so you're good. Don't worry about that section number. It's the same. The syllabus for both classes is exactly the same, so you're good. So click on the syllabus, and it'll open for you. Hopefully your computer is running well. There you go. All right. So 17B, that's our class. Again, that section number may or may not apply to you. Don't worry about section number. The content is exactly precisely the same, so you're good. So if you're a different section number, don't worry, you're good. All right. So right below that, you see, let me make this a little bigger. There we go. It's a little better. So this is 17B, of course, and right off the bat, let me read you a quote by Marcus Tullius Cicero, and that is Cicero right here below. If that name does not ring you a bell, probably one of the Roman Republic's most important intellectual thinkers, political scientists, politicians, patriots, philosophers. Fortunately, we have a great deal of his writings even now in the modern world. He was brilliant. He's played an important role all the way from the Roman Republic all the way down to today. A good example of that is if you had visited Monticello, which is Thomas Jefferson's home. Actually, he had several homes, got some money. But in there, he had a bust of Cicero staring at him for inspiration. Cicero had a brilliant mind. I love that quote, which I started the syllabus off for you guys, which says, quoting again from Cicero, "To be ignorant of what occurred before you were born is to always remain a child." So Cicero is laying out a truth that all historians love, and not just historians. Anyone who's been around the block a few times and a thoughtful person knows it's true. Essentially what Cicero said is, if you don't know the backstory of people, if you don't know what happened before them, whether it's a culture, a nation, a group, or an individual, if you don't know their backstory, their behavior will completely mystify you because you have no idea where they're coming from. Now, whether you're into quote like history or not, you guys know this is true even in interpersonal relationships, right? If you're dating someone or in someone's family, talking to your parents, grandparents, friends, boss, coworkers, whatever. As you guys don't know, to really understand like what is going on with this person, their backstory is extremely helpful to know how they look at the world, how they navigate things, why they are the way they are, what they do, why it makes sense. And that's what Cicero is saying. Now, he's saying that in the larger context, in this case, history writ large. But this applies to all aspects of human life. Is for you to understand like what is going on in the world right now. History is the key because history simply means really it's the backstory. So Cicero is urging you be an educated person, awake and understanding what is going on in the world because you're familiar with the backstory, which is important for all of us, both personally, in relationships, work, whatever we're doing, but also nationally as American citizens. For us to understand what's going on in America, going on in the world, to have context, perspective. Again, above all, history gives you perspective. To be able to understand and have a sense of why things are playing out the way they are, to not go through life like a child. And I won't spend too long on this, but you know what? Kids are great. I'm a parent, love being a dad. But when the kid's really little, super cute, but as you guys know, you can tell a little kid anything, and I mean anything when they're small, and they will swallow it. Santa Claus, Easter Bunny, where babies come from, doesn't matter, right? You tell a little kid, 3, 4 years old, you tell them, you can make up the wildest story you could imagine, right? You tell it to them when they're like Got it. Now, that's fine for kids. That's exactly where they should be in life. They're just soaking things in. Now, when you get to the age where you guys are at right now, you guys are in your late teens, late 20s, some might be maybe even a little bit later in life. You know that being a kid at heart is good, but you don't want to walk through life with the limitations of a kid's perspective, right? You need to have a sixth sense in the back of your mind. So whether you're working, dating, doing a business deal, buying a car, looking for a house, talking to a boss, talking to an employee, meeting a stranger in a bar, whatever you're doing, to have a sixth sense in the back of your mind is this person safe? What's going on here? Are they going to swindle me for money? Is this situation I'm getting into I cannot control? You know, there's all kinds of stuff, right? That a poor kid, that's right, that parents around. One of the many reasons why you need parents around. And Cicero's like, don't be a kid in an adult's body navigating through life that way. Know the backstory. History is that backstory. All right. So that little preview of the syllabus right here. So this next little section is simply saying make sure you take time to go through the syllabus. It's our contract. It's good for you guys. It's good for me. It's how we're going to navigate our little constitution for the class. So being a 17B class, picking up with the end of the Civil War till today, I tried to pick a wide range of people in American history: Theodore Roosevelt, Dorothea Lange, the brilliant Depression-era photographer, and Cesar Chavez, the great Latino civil rights worker, farm rights worker here in California. There's really endless people we could put there. That's just kind of simple, a little bit of range of what we're covering for class. All right, let's get down to the nuts and bolts. Information for the class. So, Professor of History, that is myself, Michael Lorenz. So, nice to meet all of you. Wish we could do it in person, but we're going to have to make do online. So, my office, and again, you guys is an online class, so you may or may not be on campus at all. If you are on campus, please come by, especially in office hours. Even if you're in an online class, that's fine. You can come by in person. We can chat. Now, I do also have Zoom office hours. So, let's suppose you're in, I don't know, Mariposa, taking the class, you're not on campus, that's fine. The class does not require any on-campus presence whatsoever. We can do it entirely remotely online. But if you are on campus, my office is in the IAC Building A, Social Science. Go up to room 219, and in my office hours, I will be there. So I'll be happy to meet you face-to-face. By the way, I'd like to see that because we can make eye contact instead of through a screen or simply your name in a class list. So I like that. My office phone number, probably even the best way to get a hold of me in the next one, of course, is my email. And since we're an online course, most of you will be using that. It's a perfect way to get a hold of me. Now, I do have office hours, as I just mentioned. So in person, Monday 2 to 4 p.m., Wednesday 3 to 4 p.m., I will be in my office. That's IAC Building A, room 219. That's my office. But I also, by the way, but I know some of you, the fact you're in an online class means perhaps you cannot, with work or wherever you live, on campus may not work. I can also Zoom with you those exact same time periods. Just send me an email, let me know, hey, could we Zoom on Monday at 3? Yep, we can do it. So just let me know. Now, I also have Zoom-only office hours, and that is Tuesday and Thursday from 2 to 3 p.m. So you have an options there, a range of options of when it can work for you. Additionally, you could always email me, depends what's going on. I may be able to accommodate you for special requests, different time periods, if your schedule and my schedule allows. That'll be on a case-by-case basis. But all right, that's the Zoom ID I'll be using for class. That's the ID and the password. So that's a great, because that's what we use the whole semester. So that's what you're looking for right there. Class information. Our class begins August 16 and ends December 17. So now this next part, I want to say this carefully. Being an online class, there is no Zoom time required. But, and it's an important but I would highly recommend it for those of you who can, on Thursdays from 11 to 11:50, I will have a Zoom class. Now, you want to say this carefully. That is not required, but it's highly recommended. So what are we going to do in that Zoom class? That will not be for lecture. Lecture you guys are watching on recorded lecture videos. The Zoom class will be specifically to go over the required readings for class. We'll discuss it together. Additionally, I can help you with projects, other things going on, papers, other things going on. Now, again, it's not required, but I do highly recommend it. And as I'll get to a little bit later, for those of you who do consistently attend that Thursday Zoom class, there is less work you have to do in one specific categories for the class. So not only is, I think, a better learning experience to be in class together as we're discussing the readings for class, but there's an or in there, I think. Yeah, not only is it good for you as a learner, but also it helps reduce one assignment you have to do. So there's two reasons to attend that Zoom class on Thursday. And by the way, many of you, of course, being online, maybe some of you guys are working that time period or you're not able, you're completely fine. It's completely 100% optional. Don't have to do it. I recommend it as a superior learning experience. It also is good for your grade. But again, many of you sign up for online because you need that flexibility. You're completely fine. It'll have no negative consequences for you if you can't do it. Does that make sense? So that Zoom class from 11 to 11:50 on Thursday, that is the Zoom ID and password I use for that Zoom class on Thursdays. It'll be every Thursday. Okay. There are no prerequisites for this class. Require books, and you need 2 of them. And they are, drum roll. All right. They are this book right here. You have it in front of you, but this is David McCullough's Truman. And For the Record by David Shee and Holly Mayer right here. These are 2 books you need for class. Now, some of you, when you probably first got Truman, broke into a cold sweat looking at you like, are we going to read that whole book? That is a nightmare. There we go. Are we reading that whole book? It is a massive book. There we go. It's a massive book. The good news is, the answer to that is no. We're not going to read that whole book. Now, if we had time in theory, we would. But we're not going to. We're not going to read that whole book. We're going to read very specific selections from Truman. Now, I think you guys will really like Truman. I did not choose this book, by the way, because he's the most important president. He's not. So why did I choose this book? One, I chose this book because David McCullough is an outstanding historian and has a tremendous gift of narrative history. He's a good writer besides just a historian. Some historians are brilliant. They're horrible writers. We don't need to read that stuff. I do because I'm a historian, but you guys, we're going to read the best. So David McCullough is a very good, thoughtful historian, brings out the best in his subject. And also, I like Truman so much because in many ways, he is the average American. He's not born to wealth. He's not born to extraordinary brilliance. He comes from a farm background, does not attend college, and somehow ultimately becomes president of the United States. How is that possible? Again, it's not because he's a genius per se, although he's intelligent, but his story and what he goes through in his life. When he's born, by the way, it's horse and buggy days. By the time he dies, it's jet and getting in a satellite era. So in his lifetime, America goes from kind of the end of the frontier environment in the West, of Native Americans still being seen as like Indians around. I'm not saying that's good. I'm just saying that's the environment he grew up as a young boy. Civil War had ended not long before he was born. So he grows up in that era, but he goes all the way through the jet age and to the beginning, really, of the computer age. Very early computer age, by the way. But by the time he dies, the nation goes through tremendous change during his lifetime. That's why I chose this book for you guys. We'll get a chance to see him evolve as a person, technologically, when it comes to politics, race, his perceptions, gender, ethnicity, you name it, as he evolves, as a nation evolves in his topics too. Other book you guys need is much smaller. We're not reading all of it either. So this is a primary source reader. This is full of primary source documents. I do not have a traditional history textbook for this class. I intentionally chose not to do that. You guys have been reading history textbooks since elementary school. I don't know about most of you guys. Most of you guys probably did not relish reading your history textbooks. I'm a historian. I do like reading them, but even for me as a historian, that's my last choice. Now, textbooks are very important. There's a reason why you guys have been working your way through them since elementary school and then to junior high and high school. There's a reason why. They do some important things, but they give you the 20,000-foot view of history. Right? You're flying over the continental United States in a plane at 30,000 feet, looking down at Nebraska farmland from that altitude. Can you pick out anything of detail? Not really. Now, do you get a good grasp of the nation? I suppose you do. But I prefer this college class to get much more focused, to really dig into someone's personal life as they're grappling with the great issues of the 19th and 20th century. You'll see that in Truman. additionally, this primary source reader, we're going to read the actual documents of many people are talking about in class. Most of them are quite short, 2 to 3 pages, but to give you guys a real first-hand experience of how these thinkers, these writers, these politicians, these average Americans, these intellectuals, how they interact with the American experience around them, and we're going to read them in their own words instead of reading a historian regurgitating their thoughts for you. We're going to read it straight from the horse's mouth right here. It's going to be a good read. You guys will enjoy that. So those are just the 2 books you need for class. That's it. Now, if you are a history major and you're thinking about majoring, I do recommend a book to get for you guys. That's more in the process of being a historian. For the rest of you guys, you're good. You don't need that book. But if you are a history major, I recommend that book right here called A Popular Guide to Writing History by Mary Lynn Rampolla. Again, just for that special slice of you guys who are history majors. The rest of you guys, you're good. Don't sweat it. You're good. All right. Let's get down a few more things here. So you got your books for class, online learning platform. So you guys already know this, Canvas. You guys probably know the drill. And Zoom. Again, Zoom is not required in a sense. You know, you don't have to use Zoom to come to office hours. You could come in person. You don't have to come to the Zoom class, although, again, I highly recommend it. But one of the things you guys are doing in college right now, besides working and navigating this whole era, which has got a lot of drama going on, as we all know. It's a difficult time period. So I hope all you guys are doing okay. But know how the world works. Personal connections are very strong to get you where you want to go. Most of you guys already know that. And if you don't, get out a piece of paper, write that down. Personal connections are powerful. Whether it's letters of recommendation, looking for a job, looking for a scholarship, personal connections are powerful. You get that through contact in the college setting is with your professors. Zoom, for those of you taking online, is your way to do that. I highly encourage you, if possible, to go to the Zoom class on Thursday. Again, if you can't, you're fine. It's completely optional. But just know how the bread is buttered. It naturally is helpful if the professor knows you, interacts with you. You have a stronger connection to that class, likely to the subject. And if you need letters of recommendation and so forth, if the professor knows you quite well, they can write you very strong letters. If they don't know you, I'd be still happy to do it for you. But when it comes to me having a personal experience with you, I wouldn't have much, right? Because I wouldn't really know you, right? I could look at your grades. That's very helpful. But I wouldn't really know you. So, in any case, that's the Zoom piece, if you can. I know you guys are busy, so do what you need to do as you guys are navigating, your college and work and family, all things you guys are working on right now. But if possible, I encourage it. Zoom etiquette, obviously be appropriate. Clothing, make sure your microphone is muted when you're not speaking, things like that. Try to minimize distractions in the background. You guys have probably done a ton of Zoom already. You guys know the drill, but be respectful of fellow participants. Especially noise is a big one, but other things going on in the background. Clothing, I'll try to shave more. So things like that. So, all right. Course description. So this course is the U.S. history course from the end of the Civil War till as close as we can to today. Although I don't really get into the last 10 years much, but that's kind of our general goal. All right, goals of the course. And I love this quote. I probably won't dig too deep in this quote now because I have an assignment coming up based on this quote. But I'll just read it very, very briefly. It's by the great African-American writer James Baldwin. And he writes, "History does not refer merely or even principally to the past. On the contrary, the great force of history comes from the fact that we carry it within us, are unconsciously controlled by it in many ways, and history is literally present in all that we do." It's a fabulous quote. I'm not going to take time in the syllabus video to break that down right now because we're going to have a discussion where we're going to help do this together. So for right now, I'm going to fast forward that. That's James Baldwin right there. All right. So I'm going to try to fast forward a little bit through this next section because I want to get down to what you guys are waiting for, the really practical, like what do you have to do for class. So we're getting to that shortly. I just want to give you guys a little kind of framework of what's coming up. So what you guys are doing in the history class is something you guys have done since, again, probably kindergarten. We will kind of work our way sequentially through U.S. history from 1865, end of the Civil War, till today. And you guys have been doing that all along. You guys know that drill. It's not new to you guys. But at the same time we're doing that, I'm hoping I'm going to introduce you perhaps a deeper level of complexity history that you may or may not, depends what you guys did in junior high and high school, but a deeper level of complexity now that you're in a college history course into the study of history. It's not simply a slow trudge and slog through, one date after another, and McKinley's tariffs and Theodore Roosevelt's policies toward the monopolies of the era and stuff. Yeah, we'll talk about some of that stuff. But we're also going to be shifting gears more and more to a critical analysis of sources. What is the historian who you're reading, or it could be the primary source subject, the writer of the piece you're reading, what are they up to? What's going on with them? Because you guys already know this, not new to any of you guys, but surprise, human perspectives carry biases and presuppositions. Historians have always had this. Again, you guys are already aware that's not a new concept, but perhaps in high school you would have less time to kind of dig into that. You're going more of kind of standard chronological study of kind of the nuts and bolts and skeleton history. Again, we'll do that. But we're also going to slow down and begin to get more curious about the sources of information, because as you guys know, the source is incredibly important to know the context of what this witness is telling us, right? You guys know when anything happens, the police don't want to interview just one witness if possible, right? The more witnesses, the more perspectives you get on that event. Now, hopefully the witnesses all pay attention and they agree on some general facts, right? But their specific viewpoint likely varies from person to person, as you guys already know. So in the college history course, we're going to spend quite a bit of time on that aspect too, which is what is their bias? What is the context? What is their argument as they're presenting these facts? And we're going to spend time doing that. Additionally, we're going to kind of get into studying the sources, and a little more of that too, sources, peer review, things like that, as we're examining. Now, by the way, it's not limited just to a history class. These skills in the college history class are applicable to everything you do in life, not just to history, because a lot of you guys are probably counting the days till you finish your last history course. You can sail off into the career of your choice. Now, I hope as you're getting a history course, you're going to enjoy it. And you'll know it's important for you as a citizen to be informed and participate in our great democracy. It's critically important for you to be an informed citizen in a democracy. Your vote, your perspective, your experience is important. Even though we're all small fish in a giant pond, we all get that. But your voice, your participation in democracy is vital to the health of our democracy long-term and short-term. And the best way to do that is to be educated, as I mentioned at the start, is to know the backstory. And part of that, again, is to be able to step back and analyze what is taking place, and even sometimes separate yourself from what's taking place and be able to, with a clear-eye analysis, have a good idea what's going on. Okay, that's enough of that background of that. We'll get more practical a little bit later. So, this section right here, talking about a thesis, we're not going to do so much of that in this specific class. I do more of that in-person class. With our online class, it's a little hard to do that. We are absolutely going to do these sections right here, which is analyze primary and secondary sources. I'll go to more details on what that is later. But a primary source, of course, is reading the actual words. Say, for example, the Booker T. Washington. Instead of reading about him, you'll read an article or piece by him. That's a primary source, right? Secondary source is a typical textbook. For example, David McCullough's Truman, secondary source. All the readings in here in this textbook, primary sources, and we'll get into that a little bit more details, but that's enough introduction for now. Student learning outcomes, that's more for me than for you guys, but it is important. The first one is evaluate primary secondary sources by composing an argument that uses them for support. We will do that, and I'll help you guys do that. So don't sweat that right now, but I'll help you guys do that. Analyze major political trends, attitudes, conflicts, events, etc., and their historical significance. Absolutely, of course, we do that. And then C, assess major social, cultural developments, their causes, effect, and their historical significance. Yes, we're going to do that. All right. Now, finally, you guys are waiting the last, 24 minutes? Okay, so what practically you have to do for class. And this shouldn't take too long, but let me briefly describe what you have to do for class. So, okay, participation. Now, again, participation is a general term. I know many of you are taking this class online. You probably cannot or are unable to attend the Zoom class on Thursdays. That's fine. Participation does not mean necessarily you have to be in that class. It doesn't mean that. Participation simply means You are going to do a couple things. Let me describe those right now. So, for participation, right here, it says questions you will create in response to readings. So, here's what I mean by that. So, every day for class, and by the way, I basically have 2 homeworks due a week. They're due on Tuesday, Thursday. Again, we're online class, but if you have something to turn in, that's kind of structure I've chosen for class, Tuesday, Thursday. Now, of course, you can do your homework when you need to. You're not limited to do it those days, of course, right? But that's kind of when I post it of kind of like way markers, Tuesday, Thursday. And usually the due date for things will be on those days. Okay, in any case. So, for example, like on a Tuesday, you'll have a reading here due in David McCullough's Truman. There'll be some pages you guys will read. Same thing for that Tuesday. You'll have a reading here in your textbook. A short one usually, but you also have 2 readings. One typically in Truman, one for the record. So how you do participation is you will write down a question that occurred to you as you read the assignment here in Truman due that class. And when I say a question, you're not creating a quiz question. It's simply as you read, you're like, I don't understand why Harry Truman would have done this. Perfect. You simply write that question down and put the page number that prompted that question. What I mean by that is, for example, you're reading that assigned section right here in Truman, and you're reading it, and you come across this section like, oh man, I don't understand. Like, why would he have done this? I don't get it. So you honestly don't know the answer to that. Perfect. You don't need to not write down the answer, right? This is not like you create a quiz question, but you need the question and the answer. No, you don't know the answer. You're generally like, why would he have done that? Perfect. Write that question down. If you're doing the Zoom class, you only need to have 1 question per assigned reading. So in this case, if there's a few pages assigned from Truman, you write 1 question. If there's 1 assignment for the record, you write 1 question, and you'll put the date for those questions, and you'll save that on a Word document. Now, by the way, I will make a separate video where I'll go into more detail on how to do this, so look for that to come. So right now, I'm just giving you just a general overview of the syllabus. I'll go into more specific detail exactly how to do what I'm telling you about. But it's quite simple. So twice a week, you will, in a Word document, based on the 2 readings due a week, you'll write down questions based on your honest, like, why would they have done this? You'll write that down. You'll save that. You'll save those for each class all the way to the midterm. At the midterm, in that 1 Word document, you'll upload that into Canvas, and I'll grade your questions. Again, no answers, right? Just an honest question that you don't know the answer to. Like, I don't understand, how could Truman's fiancée have done this at that time? Why did she say no to him when he proposed to her? Because clearly she likes him. By the way, that's later on in the semester. But his fiancée does like Harry Truman. She likes him, perhaps even loves him. But his first marriage proposal, she tells him, thank you, but no. Why? Because it does seem like she likes him. By the way, they'll eventually get married, and they have a very happy marriage. So why did she say no? Maybe like, I don't get it. Why would she have said no? Perfect. You write that question down. Now, for those of you who can't go to the Zoom class, which probably is most of you, and that's fine, you simply write down 2 questions per reading. And right here in the syllabus, I give you kind of some more details, examples of what I'm talking about. Again, I won't spend any more time on this. I'll explain in a separate video in more detail, and I'm going to show you a sample of what this looks like so you guys nail that down. It's easy to do. All you got to do, but just keep up. So basically twice a week, on Tuesday and Thursday, just make sure in that open running Word document, you write down your questions based on the assigned reading from David McCullough. And for the record, you write down your questions, you save them. At the midterm, you upload that whole Word document that has all your questions, and I'll grade your questions. Just be thoughtful. By the way, when I say grade, I just want you to know, are you thoughtful? Did you put thought into it? I don't grade your questions like, okay, I don't like that question. No. As long as the questions are a genuine, thoughtful question that reveal that you read, that's what I'm looking for, that you read, that you thought about it, and you create a question, you're good to go, you get all the points. This whole thing is very good for your grade as long as you're simply thoughtful and do a good job and keep up with your questions for each class, which is Tuesday, Thursday. Okay. But for those of you guys who do the Zoom class, you do have to work because you only create 1 question per reading. For those of you guys, which most of you who can't make it to Zoom class, that's fine. No penalty. But you're not doing the same work because you're not going to Zoom class. That's fine. But you just create 2 questions per reading. All right. So that is the first aspect of your grade. I'll call it participation, but really means these questions you're creating for reading. The purpose is, if we were in person, I would actually use these questions for a discussion basis. I would ask you guys, what are your questions? You tell me, and it'll be a class, we'd discuss them. So even though we're online, that's the same format I'd like to use, which is you chewing on it as you're reading, and you come up with these questions that would be used in an in-person class, even though if you're online, sadly, that's not going to happen in that context, but that's still the process we'll do. Okay. The second one is Canvas discussions. I suppose most of you guys are familiar with this, but if you're not, that's fine. And I'll give you more description of this coming up. But Canvas discussion simply is, I give you an assignment Canvas as a prompt, usually a series of questions, and you respond to that with usually like a good paragraph or so of your response, and then you must respond to 2 other students. Those of you guys who have done class discussions, you guys are pretty familiar. If you're new to college, if you've not done a Canvas discussion, it's pretty straightforward and easy, but in this Canvas assignments, I'll explain how to do it too, so you guys are good. There'll be a total of 5 Canvas discussions. It's, again, very important for your grades. It's also a good chance you guys interact with each other, get to know each other a little bit. And they can be fun. You guys can read other people's responses, and then you'll respond to other people as you read their posts in the discussion page. All right, we're making good progress here. So, all right, so section number 3 of assignments, third section, documentary video responses. So I will assign a number of videos for you guys to do. I'm still debating how many. It's not going to be a ton of them, probably 3 or 4 for the semester. So you will watch these assignments, and then you'll do a write-up in response to them. Usually be about 2 pages typed, double-spaced. And I'll choose a range of things for you guys to watch. Again, these should be very good for your grades. I'll go into more detail what those look like as they come up in the schedule for class. Okay. Now, just a couple last things here for our class, really the last 2 aspects of the grade. So far we have your questions, response to readings. That was number 1, participation. The second one was our Canvas discussions. The third one is these documentary video responses. Now, the fourth one is a critical analysis paper that we'll be building toward the whole semester. This will be due very late in the semester at the beginning of December. This paper is based primarily on Truman, which you'll be reading, and your other textbook for the record. So as you're reading, this paper built primarily on them too, and we'll get into that paper later in the semester. There'll be a whole video explaining how to do that paper, but that's for later. That paper will be about 6 pages, double-spaced, based on those 2 books, and I'll go into much more detail as the semester goes along on that paper. The paper, of course, is important. It's a pretty good sized chunk of your grade, but we'll work toward that paper to get you guys geared up for you guys, and you guys will be in good shape for that paper. Finally, last but not least, the last aspect of grading for the class are the exams. I've not talked about this much yet, but the exams are based on the lectures you guys will watch for class. So typically, again, our schedule is a Tuesday, Thursday. Again, you could be an online class. You can do it Saturday night, Friday night, whatever you guys want to, right? But that's the way, I structure the class. Again, you're flexible when you do it, but just kind of a waypoint. That's a good idea to keep you on track time-wise, is to use that Tuesday, Thursday. So twice a week, I will have assigned lectures for you guys to watch and take notes on. Now, when I say watch and take notes, that's what you guys want to do. Online lectures are good and bad, as you guys probably already know, right? The downside is we can't interact with each other, which I would sure like. That's unfortunate. It's not possible in that context. Now, there are some upsides to online lectures. Obviously, you can watch them whenever you need to. That's good. Additionally, you can pause, right? So if you need to feed the dog, go to In-N-Out, take a break, Netflix for a little while, whatever you got to do, head to work, pause that lecture and come back to it. Or maybe you missed something and go back. Typically in lectures, there's quite a bit of information there, but I will help you guys out frequently in the lecture. Usually I will say, this is really important. I want you guys to know this. Whenever I say that, oftentimes I'll highlight it in the lecture in yellow. Not always, but frequently I will. Oftentimes I'll highlight it. In that case, that's when you want to pause the lecture and then take notes on the highlighted portion I just described to you. That's, again, one nice thing about a recorded lecture is you can't pause the live person, but you sure can the little guy in the corner who's looking at you. You can pause that guy. And you can take notes. The notes will be what is the basis of the exam. The exams are multiple choice, true and false, based 100% on the lectures. Also, the exams are open note. By the way, how could they not be? Because I'm not with you. So how could I say they can't be open note? They are open note. So which is what nice is, right, guys? Take good notes. On the exam, you could use your notes. Doesn't mean you don't have to study them, because if you don't study them, you're not going to have time on the exam to kind of find everything, right? But if you take good notes on the exam, it'll be very helpful. You can have them all stacked up right and you get a timer going on the exam. And some questions you'll just know because you studied, of course, naturally, right? If you get jammed up, though, you notice people right there in front of you, use them. Use them. So take good notes on the lectures. That's the exam. So how does the grading break down? There we go. So participation, remember that's the questions and response to the readings, both from Truman, for the record. That is worth 150 points or 22% of the grade. The Canvas discussions are worth 90 points. That's about, what, 13%, 14% of your grade. The documentary videos you guys watch are about 11% of the grade. Your analysis paper is worth 150 points. Again, that's due at the beginning of December. And finally, the 4 exams is worth about 30% of your grade. There'll be 4 of those exams, broken into 4 units for the class. All total, that's 670 points. Grades naturally are strictly by percentage. You guys know the drill. 90 to 100. I won't go through that. You guys can look at that. You guys already know. All right. All right. General class info. Makeup policy, drop policy, and online attendance. So, late work. Don't do it. Don't be late. Now, by the way, if you have health things to come up, health things going on, we're in a COVID era, as you guys know. Let me know. So I'll work with you. It depends what's going on. If there's a medical excuse absence, then we'll work with that. Other late things, depends what's going on. I may or may not accept it. Depends what it is. So, but communicate with me. Talk to me. Well, I'll take a look at it, see what your case is. This next one is very important, so you guys want to pause for this one. Absent or non-participating Canvas or plagiarizing students risk being dropped. So let me get more specific. If for 2 weeks I see no activity in Canvas from you, I may drop you. Additionally, if you miss 2 discussion assignments, discussions are very important. It shows your involvement, participation in the class. If you miss 2 of them, that means a 0. You didn't do it. A good chance I'm going to drop you. And or if you plagiarize 1 or more assignments, because it's been an issue. So if there's stuff cut and pasted there because you're not doing the work, I'm going to drop you. So, by the way, most of you guys are good. None of that's going to apply to most of you guys. But there are some students, I'm telling you, you guys already probably know this, right? There are some students who are trying to game the system. So if you are trying to commit fraud, I'm going to get you out of the class. You should not be in the class. So if you're plagiarizing, if you're not participating, and you're somehow trying to give the impression you're on the class, but you're not in the class, you're not going to be in the class because we're going to get you out. Again, most of you guys are completely good. Just let me know. Some of you guys have some things going on. You, God forbid, get COVID or something. Some things happen. Fine, just communicate with me. We get it. This is a tough time period. But that's not the case. For people who are trying to game the system, that's not what they're doing. So in any case, most of you guys are fine. But just FYI, it's some of you, by the way, there's sometimes some students who just, they check out. They're there. They're a real student. They just check out. Well, if you check out for a while, when you check back in, there's not going to be class for you because it's not good for your fellow students, not the professor. And by the way, just let me know what's going on. Things, health crisis come up, stuff, just communicate with me. But if I have no communication, I'm going to assume that you're not a real student. And so I'll get you out of the class. Plus, you guys, you're fine. Don't sweat that. That's not for you. That's for students who are not really students, frankly. By the way, some of you guys who are real students, life comes up, right? I mean, I know a lot of you guys are working. You guys are making your way. You guys are juggling multiple things. You got family going on. You're paying bills. You're taking classes. I get it. Some of you may, unfortunately, for very legitimate reasons, need to drop the class halfway through. Maybe, unfortunately, your living situation changes. You have to pick up extra work and realize, look, I cannot honestly put the time in the class. I would like to. It's unfortunate. I cannot. I just can't right now. I plan to come back, but I can't. Okay. Protect your grade. I'm not going to know what's going on, but you do. So make sure you guys, make sure to drop the class. Don't stay in the class. Don't get an unnecessary F in your class. If your name is on my roll in the semester, no matter how good your reason that you needed to leave the class, there's no way I can know that and verify that. Any students whose name on my roll, I have to give them a grade by law. I don't even have an option. I must give a grade. In that case, if a student, for example, if they left the class, of course they get an F. Don't do that to your GPA. Don't do that to your financial aid. Protect yourself. So if for whatever reason you can't take one more recorded lecture, I hope that's not the case. I'll do my best to make them good, but or more realistically, you just unfortunately life is changed, right? You hit some rapids, and you just have to pull the plug because you had to deal with some other things that are a bigger issue than school right now, than college right now. I get it. We've been there. In that case, protect your GPA. Make sure that you drop the class. It's easy to drop. Just find out how to do it. Drop the class. Protect that GPA. Academic dishonesty. I already mentioned this one already, but plagiarism, cheating has serious repercussions, as you guys know. So let's go worst case scenario. You didn't really watch the video. Maybe you watched part of it. Okay, do you write up on the part you watch? Just be honest. You'll get some points. It won't be good, of course, because you don't really do it, but you'll get some points. Don't get a plagiarism 0. Painful, by the way, could also lead to you being dropped from the class. So same thing when you run the paper late in the semester. Maybe you're desperate. Maybe you didn't read the way you should have. Maybe your paper is not high quality because you don't know at the time what you're talking about. That's not good. By the way, don't do that. Have an excellent paper. But let's go worst case scenario. Your paper is not good because you couldn't read like the way you needed to. Don't plagiarize. Turn in that so-so paper that's not what it could be because it's still worth points. Plagiarism is a 0. Catastrophic for your grade. Don't do it. So even if you have no moral qualms about doing it, protect your GPA. Don't get a 0. It's catastrophic. And again, it depends on when it is in the semester. You could also get dropped for plagiarism too. So protect yourself. Again, most of you guys are completely fine. That's the last thing on your mind. I'm talking to a few of you who maybe in some desperate, dark hours start thinking, creatively and start, how do I get out of this jam? That's not going to get you out of the jam. All right. Finally, we're getting close to the end here, extra credit. So there are some extra credit options available. I think I'm going to try to make a video just on extra credit. So maybe now I won't go into that. I think I'll make an extra credit video for you guys explaining what I recommend for you guys to do. But you can visit museums in the area. The Bay Area is full of some fabulous museums. There's even some local museums to get to. There's also movies and documentaries you can watch for extra credit. If you're curious, you can email me, but I think I'm going to make a video describing extra credit for you guys. Just be aware there's extra credit possible for you guys. I recommend it. Help you guys grade out. A little insurance on your grade. All right, last couple things here, and we're going to wrap it up. Campus security emergency services. Now, again, this is an online class, so this may or may not apply to you. Some of you, though, may be on campus at times, so I want to mention to you guys who may be on campus for other classes, although it's not our class because our class course is online. But if you are on the Merced College campus, I highly encourage you guys to download the app Campus Shield. It's free. Just go to the App Store, put in Campus Shield, ask you to kind of set it up Merced College and stuff. Just go through the setup process. It's completely free. But it's very handy. I have it on my phone. I'm going to try to bring it up on my phone. There it is. You guys can't really see it, but if you could, not much of the resolution is very good in a tiny little square, but it's right there. Very handy. God forbid there's an emergency on campus, and you're on campus, obviously. You push that button, and the police can, if you push the emergency button, they'll immediately respond to your location. Now, by the way, it's important. If you're not on campus, that button won't do you good. Call 911, of course, right? But if you're on campus, I think about on campuses, that will actually GPS track your location. So let's say you're in a parking lot, God forbid, and you're concerned or you see something going down and you're on campus. You could push that button and the campus police will know where you are. That's outstanding. So again, it's only for on campus, but if you are on campus, I highly recommend it. I've had to use it before for medical emergency in my classroom. I was glad I had it. The police responded very promptly to a student that was in medical distress. Other things go down too in this area, as we know, right? So I encourage you guys, if on campus, use that. If you're on campus, that app will not help you. Of course, naturally, you guys call 911. You can also call 911 on campus too. That, of course, is to local Merced police, and they'll respond. But the first responders on campus, of course, will be the campus police, and you access them quickest through Campus Shield. So if you're on campus, I highly encourage you guys to get that app. All right, we're close to the end right here, which is good news for you guys. Getting the last little bit here, the syllabus, a word on classroom decorum, behavior expectations. And again, we're in the online classroom, right? So it's a little bit different than in class. But for example, you don't have to worry about your cell phone. In class issue, for us, not really an issue. The only really classroom decorum issue, some of them, which is obviously when responding in discussions, be thoughtful and appropriate, be positive. If you go negative in discussions, it can be a problem. So when it comes to discussions, maybe someone says something you strongly disagree with, their political perspective, be it Republican, be it Democrat, be it Libertarian, be it Socialist, whatever it may be, that is their right as an American. You may think that they are deluded. That's fine for your opinion, but treat them with respect. You can debate the idea, not the person, right? You don't get personal. So if you're in some discussion format, someone posts something, if I disagree with it, great. Discuss the idea. Respect the person. Debate the idea, the concept. Don't be demeaning to the person. Battle with the idea itself, but do that in a respectful manner of each individual. Additionally, make sure things are appropriate. Images in the discussion page, obviously be careful with images. Sometimes students even upload like little brief videos and stuff. Wonderful. Encourage you guys to do that. Just, obviously be respectful of fellow students. Most of you guys go without saying, but there's a few students that need some help with boundary issues, whether it's clothing, location, what they're doing on camera. Be thoughtful. Treat this as you would if you were in class, in person. So be thoughtful for fellow students in language, etc. Keep it civil, keep it respectful, make it a good environment for everybody. All right. Finally, last couple things here. Americans with Disabilities Act. The college has very good resources for those of you guys. If you have some learning challenges, definitely reach out to Disabled Student Services. There's contact information there on the syllabus for you. Definitely make use of that. Let me know too, and we'll do our best to make you the best learning process possible for you. Sexual misconduct, again, hopefully in the online class that limits some of that, but things happen online too, so be careful. Obviously, sharing personal information online if you don't want people, for example, probably not a good idea to put in cell phone numbers, and I don't know why you do that in the introduction page in Canvas in any case, but in a discussion board. But be thoughtful. Everybody in class, you don't, some of these are strangers. So just be thoughtful. Again, Canvas and discussion page should be a very safe place. Don't share information that can identify you too specifically if that's a concern for you. If something does come up, let me know right away, and you can take appropriate steps. Additionally, there's a sexual misconduct policy for the college. And, things happen, as you guys know. We're a community, right? So we need to keep each other safe. Please contact me if you feel uncomfortable. Something happened in the discussion page, please let me know right away, and I can address that. And please be careful of boundaries for yourself as well, too. Here's some good online resources for you guys, all kinds of good stuff. Tutoring, again, more online help, tech help. Some of you guys may have some tech issues, some tech challenges in an online class. Definitely reach out to academic support, tech support, student services. The people that's their full-time job is to help you be able to have, hopefully, a seamless experience at the college, whether it's a technology challenge, other issues going on. Definitely reach out and get the help you need. With that, I think we are fortunately at the end of the syllabus. I hope this is helpful to you guys. Welcome to class, everybody. It's going to be a very good semester. The syllabus lecture is probably, not lecture, introduction video is probably, and I hope the driest of all the videos, the rest of them hopefully getting into the real meat and bones of the buffet of history of the American experience. I'm looking forward to going on the journey with you guys. Again, welcome to class. I look forward to meeting you guys in the virtual space, and hopefully some of you in person or in Zoom office hours or in the Zoom class on Thursdays at 11 to discuss the readings. With that, that's the end of this one, and we'll see you with the next video. Until then, goodbye, everybody.